What's up, nerds? It's your boy, the OGGM, on a lazy Saturday afternoon, about 3:30 here at Site B on the 18th day of February 2020 something. I don't even freaking know. I feel like I just woke up. I had a bad night last night. Anyways, as you may or may not know, my friends over in the Red Room slash creators of the Wretchedverse have gotten themselves in a bit of a jam with our friends over at Drive Thru. And we've talked about this, and we'll talk about it some more on Monday or Tuesday. But I know that they're feeling a little down, and as somebody who shares that, feeling of often my creations are going nowhere, and I've invested a lot of energy in this for no reason, I just wanted to sort of share my little bit of history with Sylvia and Miguel and hopefully, spread a little words of encouragement to them. So a while back, a year ago, 2 years ago, it was before I moved to Site B, I got I was doing the YouTube thing, and I was saying, hey, if you got something you want me to review, send it to me. And I got an email from this kid, and he's like, hey, I wrote some adventures. Will you review them for me? And I was like, sure, I'm really bad at reviews, dude, but okay. And he sent me his Galileo Italian movie-themed adventures, and they were good. They were different. It was something I'd never, ever seen before. And unfortunately, I made the mistake of looking them as a movie guy, not a game guy. And I think he was expecting different than what I offered him in the way of reviews. And I was like, yeah, dude, I told you I'm not really good at reviews. And what I really liked, was the fact it was more of an introduction to a whole genre of movies a lot of people didn't know about, and you opened a door to something that maybe people wouldn't be aware about it. And I was really more excited about that, and the fact that I recognized almost every movie he referenced. Then it's like, yeah, your adventures are good. I really think they're good. It's not really, I suck at doing reviews, dude. I think we all know I suck at doing reviews. I love reviewing, but I suck at them. Unless it's a superhero game. But, despite everything, he was like, I'll still talk to you. And he had a Facebook thing, and he's making this thing called Wretched. And he's like, oh man, me and my friend, this Sylvia and our cats and whatever. And we're making this Wretched thing, and here's this Wretched thing. And I was like, oh dear God, I thought, not another grim, dark D20 game about dark-ass heroes. Oh, this Mork Borg, this Sveinhaden, I'm just so sick of it. When did this dark period of D&D ever happen? Because I don't remember it. All I remember is D&D being a silly game about elves with sticks. D&D to me was Hawk the Slayer and Sword and the Sorcerer. But despite that, he and his, Sylvia still talk to me. I don't know why. I read Wretched, and I was like, oh wait, I get it. I see what they're doing. Oh man, I was so wrong about this. And I was really inspired by the Wretched. But I was still like, dude, there's so many of the... What if I wrote a game that was making fun of your game and made it the exact opposite? And instead of calling it, Wretched Heroes or Wretched Bastards, I called it Glorious Heroes. And I basically wrote the polar opposite of Wretched. And it was all about that sort of classic 80s over the top ridiculous, sword and sandal, Sword and the Sorcerer movies. So I started writing this, and in the time I got 5 pages done, Sylvia had published 300 new adventures for Wretched. And they had gotten themselves in trouble. And their trouble had inspired my other friend to start his own publishing company. And I was like, oh, dude, God, I haven't even finished half. And, I was all feeling bad about myself. And I posted, and I talked to Sylvia, and somehow during that conversation, they were getting in trouble with, being considered something. And I was talking about my personal experience, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'm LGB. And she was totally cool with it. And I was like, oh, these guys aren't the assholes that they're being made out to. I really like these guys. So I went back, and I was looking at what I'd written, and, Cal had taken a really long time to edit it, and I appreciate you editing, Cal, and it was all like, I could go somewhere with this, but I kind of just want to more focus on the silliest aspect on this. And, as you know, one of the terms I use over and over and over again in my defense of our hobby is that, it's a silly game about idiots with sticks. So I'm like, well, what if I just wrote about the idiots with sticks? What if I just wrote about, the monsters, but with sort of a tongue-in-cheek, sort of embracing the silliness of monsters. So I was like, I'm going to scrap this idea for a while. Maybe I'll write a world book about this, but now I just want to focus on doing like a 10-page zine that, Big Geek will let me publish despite my horrible spelling, for like $1. And that was the first slime book. That was the original Fistful of Slime that started the whole thing. And, I was doing these and I was naming them all after spaghetti westerns. There was, and I decided, why not make them all just minions? Not the minions from Universal, but just, the mooks, the minions, the goons, the henchmen, the faceless masses that, support every evil bad guy. So that was kind of it. And I was like, what's the most, universal faceless bad guy that you could place in any situation and you don't have to explain? And I was like, slime. So I started writing slime. And that was, that sort of became the thing. And that was like the first one. I got edited and I had some art, and it was all this tongue-in-cheek thing, and it was really cool. And I was like, but I put it on Big Geek, and I think I was like one of the first people to ever put stuff on Big Geek. And there's, about this time, there's just so much controversy surrounding them and stuff, and like it seemed like every day somebody else was taking shots at Sylvia and Miguel for breathing, and they stood their ground, which I respect. I don't always agree with the things that they say, but that's okay. I'm sure there's stuff that I say that they don't agree with, and I'm sure Miguel still hasn't forgiven me for the reviews I gave him for Galileo, but they always said nice things about me. Now, mind you, they have never interviewed me, and they never said they'd publish my stuff. So, I don't know, maybe they're, but I'll forgive them for that. They're busy and they're important, and now they're getting kicked off of publishing things. They don't have time for me and my shenanigans. Coffee. Please like, please share, please subscribe to the OGGM Adventures and support the OGGM Adventures. And one of the ways you can support it is by purchasing from my sponsor. So that brings us to today. Getting kicked off of drive-thru, getting a whole nother spew of hate mail, being labeled the latest horrible thing to happen to role-playing since whatever the most horrible thing to happen to role-playing was yesterday. And I know it's affecting them. I know they're feeling crappy. I know they're worried about how this is going to affect the little universe of games that they've created, especially since, controversy seems to follow them like peanut butter follows jelly. I don't know. But I don't think they're as bad as they've made out to be. They stick to their guns. They have a great sense of humor. Their product is great. The amount of research they do is great. The loving homage they give to certain genres and certain aspects of film and certain time periods is great. And they have cats, which just makes them awesome people above and beyond. So, yeah. So here's just my little love letter to you guys. Thank you very much for encouraging me to get out of a multi-year rut of not wanting to write anything and placing me in that, if Sylvia can make 30 freaking projects in a day and getting them published and get in trouble and get banned from drive-thru in the amount of time it makes me to butter toast, I can at least write one. So thank you guys for being my heroes. Thank you guys for inspiring me. Thank you for giving me the courage to create the Minions on the Mission series. Yeah, it hasn't been as successful as I would like. And I'm very envious that Miguel has Sylvia to support everything he creates, and Sylvia has Miguel to support everything she creates, and they have this wonderful, little collective. Nobody in my family supports me in what I'm doing. I don't have a Miguel or a Sylvia to hand stuff off to. I've got Steve, the cat. So the fact that you two have found each other in this amazing multiverse of gaming, and the fact that you two work so well together and have managed to create something at this period in time in the gaming universe is amazing. And you gave a lot of us, whether you know it or not, encouragement to publish, because I can name about 20 people who I became aware of and who were publishing things right after you guys started, and right after you guys jumped in, and they were like following you whether you know it or not. If you just look at the timelines, a lot of people jump back into the gaming thing because of you. So at least from my point of view, I could be wrong. I mean, maybe these people were already publishing stuff and I just became aware of them because I was on your Facebook and they was on your Facebook. I don't know. But for me, yeah, you guys are an inspiration, and I will always support you, no matter how bad things get. I've got my PDF of Man right there in the thing. I paid the money. I will. It's not my. It is what it is, and I know why you published it, and that's something we can get in later. But yeah, I'm very proud of you guys. So thank you for just being the two little crazy lunatics that you are. Yeah, and here's to many more. God, I sound like a freaking idiot. Here's to many more successes, guys. As long, nothing bad will come out of this whole band thing, because you're attracting so much attention that there's no way that this little moment in time is not going to end up being a good thing. Okay, so just let you know. To paraphrase a friend of mine from the 80s who got one of his albums labeled with the adult supervision required, do not buy this thing. A gentleman by the name of Maynard G. Krabs, you might have heard of him. He was a singer in a small little band called Tool. I don't know, you may never have heard of them. He said that getting banned was the best thing that ever happened to his band. So getting banned could be the best thing that ever happened to you. That's it. That's all I've got to say. Again, just thank you guys. Till next time, I'm the OGGM. If you appreciate the nonsense that comes out of my mouth, let me know. If there's something you'd like to see me do that I haven't done, let me know. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe, please subscribe. Help me hit 1,500 subs by April 1st, and we'll do something silly. Remember, this is my job. So if you appreciate the things I'm doing, please consider supporting me. And the best way to support the OGGM Adventures is head on over to Big Geek Emporium, who I can say with some level of ego, I was one of the very first to publish on Big Geek Emporium. Head on over to Big Geek Emporium and pick up any one of my 7 Minions on a Mission monster vlogs, all inspired by Sylvia. So just remember that. Every little thing that I have written in the past 2 years was inspired by Sylvia. So thank you again, Sylvia. Now, get off my land, you damn marks.